As mentioned by Troy, my name is Raelene, and when asked by Troy back in November last year if I'd share my story and do it in 20 minutes, I must say I thought that was such a long labour for my mum that I wouldn't get past being born in that time. So I was left wondering, what do I share and what do I leave out? I could tell childhood stories of trauma, stories of tragedy, stories of loss, and overwhelming grief. I could tell of a near-death car accident whilst pregnant. I could tell of my journey of parenting a high-needs child. I could tell of deception, deceit, destitution and despair. I could share a very dark time when suicide felt like my only option. I could share of times when I sheltered my babies for fear of their lives. I could share of amazing triumphs and achievements within my family. Or I could share the incredible story of how I met my prince, someone who is apparently as inappropriate as myself. Thank you, Alan. However, as I thought and prayed about this, God had a very different part of my story that he has led me to share. Primarily a window of about 15 years, from the year 2000 to the year 2015, although some of the story continues today. For a quick overview, let's start at the beginning. I'm the eldest of 4 girls, born in Merriweather in Newcastle, and I moved around a lot over my lifetime. I've lived in 24 different addresses. I'm very good at packing. As a child, when asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would answer, a mum of 10 children. Although I only had 4, which at times felt like 10, who incidentally were all born in different towns, and yes, they all have the same father, my 3 daughters and 1 son have now all left the nest, gone forth, partnered and multiplied, and I now have 11 grandchildren, 4 boys, 7 girls, ranging from a 1-year-old to a 19-year-old. Whilst I revelled in being a stay-at-home mum for many years, I felt called by God into full-time ministry. So it was as a mum of a 5, 7, 13 and 15-year-old in January of the year 2000 that we moved from a little country town to the city to commence full-time Bible and ministry college. These were very tough years, cramming 3 years of study into 2, as well as a very heavy practical schedule, and all the while being assessed at every turn. Added to this, juggling 2 teenagers and 2 littlies, and this whole experience brought me unstuck. A vivid memory of this time was lying in an observation room of a psychiatric hospital on the opening night of the Olympics, with staff trying to encourage me to watch the opening ceremony as my 2 eldest children were in the Olympic choir. All I wanted to do was go to sleep and never ever wake up. During this stay, I met a chaplain and attended one of his chapel services. I remember him introducing me and saying, "This is Raelene and she's studying to become an ordained minister." And I remember this with such fondness as he was so validating and accepting of me. He even seemed proud, and it was really weird because of where we were and why I was there. That experience left a lasting impression on me. Being suicidal, having a breakdown, and ending up in a psychiatric hospital while studying to become an ordained minister was not exactly in the plan. I did finish Bible college and passed all my exams. However, still to this day, I have almost no recall of anything from my biblical studies. We all survived the pressure cooker environment of living on campus as a family, and I was ordained and sent out to pastor a lovely little all-age congregation. These people brought such blessing to all our lives. During this time, I became aware of a friend from years before that had been sent to jail on drink driving charges. Through some twists and turns, I located her and managed to go into the jail with the chaplain and conducted a chapel service and got to hug my friend. The next Sunday, I stood at the lectern and told my congregation I'd found my spiritual home, and it was within the jails. Fast forward to my ministry appointments, including such things as managing a building redevelopment that had stalled for 21 years, managing a telecommunication project across 3 states, and then being called into head office and told I was being sent to be a chaplain at 4 women's prisons. Yes, yes, yes. I felt like I was going home, finally going home. I was ecstatic. However, probably not the same feelings that my family had at the time. During those years in that role, I was so blessed to be in a space where I could love, value, and accept people as they were. Just as Christ does for me, and just as that chaplain had done for me in that psychiatric hospital all those years before. I was trusted and welcomed into the lives of inmates, staff, volunteers, and family. From being the support person at the birth of a baby to attending funerals and viewings of loved ones of inmates who couldn't attend, conducting a wedding for a staff member, supporting family after a death in custody, conducting Christmas services on a day when inmates felt so isolated as visits weren't permitted on Christmas Day, sitting Christmas morning on the lounge in a protection unit alongside a notorious inmate who had cooked me a bacon and egg roll out of supplies she had saved up and paid for. It was a communion meal I'll never forget. Lying in a safe cell on a concrete block, night after night, rocking a mum to sleep as she grieved her 16-year-old daughter's death that had occurred on the other side of the world. Called into another facility to let 2 brothers know that their sister and 3 children had all been killed. Conducting a massive celebration of the life of an 18-year-old who had been killed in a car driven by a relative who was high on drugs just 1 week before his mum's release. Driving an hour each way to pick up a mum's express breast milk from a clinic in a jail and drop it to her mum's house for her mum to feed her newborn baby. Picking up and driving a 4-year-old along with his granddad and taking them out so he could see his mum every Tuesday. These are just a few of the experiences I had. During this time, a huge, unexpected crisis happened in my life. I was struggling to exist emotionally, physically, as well as financially. Although remaining professional, there was one occasion when an inmate was whinging about the meals and she said she was going to throw them out. I broke down and I said, there's people who can't afford to feed their families, and one of them was me. I wasn't wanting sympathy, I was just trying to bring perspective. The next day, And every day for a while I was at that facility, with security approval of course, I was given a garbage bag full of corrective service meals that the inmate had rounded up from the others and herself. And I took them home, and my family on those days ate the meals given by those inmates. My son's favourite, corrective service lasagna. Anyway, there was a Christmas that the inmates had all saved up and brought numerous items on buy-up, which is very, very expensive, and they put together a hamper for myself and my children. These were very, very humbling experiences, and a divine exchange was taking place. Precious, treasured memories that I hold within me. Within Corrective Services New South Wales, the chaplaincy service is a multi-faith chaplaincy service. So although, as a Christian chaplain, I did not have to conduct other faith services, I was required, if requested by inmates, to distribute Muslim prayer mats, Buddhist prayer beads, Catholic rosary beads, or for the non-Catholics, they used to call them rosemary beads. Miss, can I have rosemary beads? As a lot of inmates called them, as well as Bibles and other religious texts. I also got to forge relationships with visiting chaplains, such as the beautiful Buddhist nun who would share her lunch with me, and one year denied herself of 3 months' wages so she could gift me a birthday present. The Greek Orthodox chaplain who was so soft in spirit and full of empathy, an absolute gift of a friend. The Muslim chaplain who was the most incredible man, and if I requested, he would drive over 2 hours to come and visit the Muslim women and treat them with respect and kindness, which was so welcomed. On my team, I also had the most incredible prison fellowship volunteers who would work alongside me in the jails on the chapel days, as well as loving and supporting me and covering me and my family in prayer. I also spent 45 minutes each lunchtime walking the yard with my besties. The head of security, the senior education officer, it was a funny sight. On with our joggers and off we'd go, and we would solve the problems of the world as well as have many laughs. Then came the day I was given a new role. A full-time chaplain in a male jail. The day I was notified was the same day that a very brutal rape had happened in that jail. I was fuming, thinking that all males were perpetrators. I thought that was coloured from my own lived experience. Upon thinking more of this, I realised there was actually a perpetrator and a victim, and both of them were males. So from that day until I commenced working at that jail, I was pleading with God to give me a love for these guys. I had to have a lot of supervision and counselling to deal with my own baggage surrounding this. And a quote I often use is, "If you don't deal with your crap, it'll deal with you," was something I really had to apply to myself. At my first chapel service, standing at the lectern with the chapel full of male inmates, all singing, "Christ is enough for me," I was still pleading with God to give me a heart for these guys. With tears streaming down my face, I fell to my knees before God and my congregation, and my heart was opened. I was given an unconditional love for these guys, and they knew that I was there for them. The years I spent walking and working in that place are some of my most treasured memories. I was never, ever disrespected, and I have formed many lifelong friends of staff, ex-inmates, family of inmates, and volunteers. Since leaving this last paid role, exchanging 320 male inmates for Alan, you will understand, similar, and moving away, I have continued to maintain connections with some of these people who God placed on my heart. One lady who is my age, but emotionally much younger due to childhood trauma at the hands of the church, calls me Chappie, and she calls Alan male parent. We flew her to Melbourne for a significant birthday, and she went with me to her first ever live show, something that she still talks about. She's also stayed with us numerous times and loves doing gardening jobs and Bunnings runs with male parent. Another guy is someone I told, I believe in you. And I said if he kept clean and sober for 12 months, on his anniversary, I would meet him for a coffee. Well, little did I know that he was the very first inmate to be caught up in the new immigration laws that came in about 11 years ago, and he was deported to New Zealand. Fast forward to me explaining to my soon-to-be husband that I had made this promise and I was going to keep it. Yes, we went on a cruise to New Zealand and we met this guy and his partner at the Bay of Isles, and they took us around for the day of sightseeing. Another guy was the sergeant of arms of a notorious bikie gang. He had a role within the jail where he sat at a desk not far from my office door. He watched me intently, and although he rarely attended chapel, he is now a charismatic Christian, sending me Bible quotes and encouragement, and he's now married to the most charismatic Christian woman I know. He went back to his hometown and now works alongside a church and the police with troubled youths, and we had the pleasure of being a guest in his home on one of our road trips. And on New Year's Day 2025, he along with his wife came and stayed with us. The young man that I drove each week to see his mum has just finished his second year of uni, and we had a meal with him and his mum and dad in their home in Brisbane on another road trip. His granddad is still going strong and lives in another country, and I have an open invite to be a guest in their home. Another guy who made an incredible impact on me was someone I noticed across the yard, and I asked him for his story. He had almost completed Bible study, but went his own way with disastrous consequences. I asked him if he would lead a Bible study. He's the only person in my 9 years of ministry within the jails that I ever had in a leadership position. He was a man that just oozed God. He was sent to Christmas Island and asked by staff to run services there. He would email me his chapel run sheet, and I would create an order of service and email it to the welfare officer, who then would print them out and give them to him for his chapel services. After a long and complicated road, he was granted Australian citizenship, and he met the most amazing woman of God. Their wedding day in Sydney was the same day that my best friend's funeral was in Queensland. God spoke to me and said, "Why are you looking for the living amongst the dead? She's not here, she's risen." So I sent a video message to be played at my best friend's funeral, and Alan and I attended the wedding celebration. Something I know my best friend would have loved me doing. So who am I? I'm a person who values authentic people. And I must say, God has placed me with a lot of very authentic people. If you want to mess me up, behave incongruently. Words and actions have to line up. My life's mission is to love, value, and accept others, something I believe we each need. I can honestly say that nothing in my life has been lost in God. My life has had so many highs and lows, so many twists and turns, but through it all, Christ is my reward and all of my devotion. There is nothing in this world that could ever satisfy. Through every trial, my soul will sing. No turning back, I've been set free. Christ is enough for me, and everything I need is in him. This is the song that brought me to my knees as those male inmates sang those words. And it's the song that Alan and I chose to have our guests sing at our wedding celebration. Christ is my all in all, the joy of my salvation, and this hope will never fail. Heaven is my home. Through every storm, my soul will sing. Jesus is here. To God be the glory. Christ is enough for me, and everything I need is in him. I decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. The cross before me, the world behind me. No turning back. Christ is enough for all of us. And I can honestly say, from my experience, everything we need is in him.
Please stand. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to sing the start of this song with me. And then, of course, ladies, you'll join us not long after. But let's lift our voices. Let's praise that mighty God. Christ is my reward and all of my devotion. Now there's nothing in this world that could ever satisfy. Through every trial, my soul will sing, no turning back. I've been set free. All together, let's sing. Christ is enough. Christ is enough for me. Christ is enough for me. Everything I need is in you. Everything I need. Christ is all in all, the joy of my salvation. And this hope will never fail. Heaven is our home. Through every storm, my soul will sing. Jesus is here. To God be the glory. Christ is enough for me. follow Jesus, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. The cross before me, the world behind me, no turning back, no turning back. The cross before me, the world behind me, no turning back, no turning back. Christ is enough. Christ is enough for me. Christ is enough for me. Everything I need is in you. Everything I need. Christ is enough for me. Christ is enough for me. Everything I need is in you. Everything I need, I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning